So, I know a lot of people don't like the CL40 right now, and I'm going to kind of be explaining why that is and what I think should be done to make this weapon less powerful than it currently is, because currently it's pretty powerful. So, the base issue for the CL40 occurs in the fact that the CL40 is much, much easier to be effective with than anything else for the medium. So the CL40, think about it this way, the CL40 is kind of the flamethrower for the medium, okay? The flamethrower is a very, very, very good, solid, decent weapon for the heavy that comes with some nice perks like Afterburn and being able to attack multiple people at the same time. It really is just much easier to use than the SA-1216. The SA-1216 is better if you've got absolutely insane aim, but the flamethrower is much, much easier to use, right? And that's basically like the CL40, because the AKM kills people faster than the CL40. The AKM is a better weapon than the CL40, right? It just kills people faster. On paper, it kills people faster, okay? So the AKM is a better weapon than the CL40, but the CL40 seems like it's a better weapon because it's much, much, much easier to shoot a person 3 times with this and take them out with that than it is to, you know, unload a certain amount of bullets of the AKM into someone. So the CL40 right now seems like it's very, 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 very good. And with something like the AKM, or the FCAR, or the Pike, or the FAMAS, or the model, or pretty much any weapon for the medium, you have to hit your shots, and that's pretty hard to do. You have to hit multiple shots, which is pretty hard to do. But for the CL40, you can just, like, go close range, and it's a perfectly accurate weapon. It always goes towards the direct center of your screen. Right? There's no visual recoil, there's no recoil pattern, there's nothing like that. You just shoot, and it shoots. So it really is similar to the flamethrower in a lot of ways. It's just very, very easy to use. No recoil, no visual recoil. You just shoot the gun shoots, and it does the damage, right? And the problem with it is that it's too easy to use. Because in the lower levels, in bronze and in, you know, silver and in gold, you're going to be seeing a lot of CL40s. But if you go up, if you go to plat, if you go to diamond, if you go to ruby, I suspect you're not going to be seeing so many CL40s, because in those ranges, when people start having really good aim, the AKM or the FAMAS or the Pike is going to be better picks. They're all going to be better picks. But in the lower level lobbies, where people, you know, struggle to hit every single shot with their AKM when they're shooting at someone, it's just going to be a much better pick to go with the CL40, which you're going to be able to easily hit your shots with and just take someone out. Right, so in the lower to the middle ranges, the CL40 is going to be a very, very good option, and in the higher ranges, it's not actually even going to be meta. The AKM or the Pike or the FCAR are going to be better at the higher ranges, or the FAMAS even, which has a pretty high time to kill right now, and the model. You've got a lot of meta options for the medium at the high ranges, but the CL40 at the high ranges isn't one of them. It's only an option for the meta at the lower to the medium ranges, okay? So that's the issue. The issue is high up, it's not great. It's fun, but it's not great because you can get out TTK'd by it by pretty much anything else in the medium's loadout. Like any other medium gun can out TTK the CL40, so it's less than ideal in those situations. Also, you know, if you're in a situation where you're trying to like go up a zip line, you can't hit that person with the CL40. And if you're using a jump pad, you can't hit that person with the CL40. And also a very, very good counter to the CL40 that I don't see a lot of people doing is, you know, let's say this person is here. Let's say they're using the CL40. I can't shoot this person without damaging myself, right? It's very hard to do. It's very, very hard to hit this person without damaging myself. So if someone's ever using a CL40 and you've got an AK or something, very, very easy way to counter them is to just go up to them and just hip fire like this, and they can't do anything. They're just going to blow themselves up if they try to shoot you, okay? So there's good counters to it. You just go up a zipline, go up a jump pad, go up a moving platform, go up something, or you just go point blank range and just take them out like that, right? So there's two very, very good, very, very reliable counters to the CL40. So that's just kind of trying to prove the point that at the top ranges, it's going to be less effective than the AKM, the FCR, the Pike, the FAMAS, and even the model and the revolver. Alright. So that's the problem with the gun. The problem with the gun is it's not fantastic at the upper ranges. I'm sure it's good still, but it's not going to be your best pick at the upper ranges. And in the medium ranges and the low ranges, it's going to be a very good pick. So there's an imbalance in how effective the weapon is. The higher up you go, the worse it gets. Which makes balancing it a nightmare. really. This is the same for the flamethrower. At, you know, bronze, the flamethrower is going to be very good, but if you're in plat or diamond, you probably want the SA-1216 or the Lewis gun, or something else, the Deagles even, right? And the CL-40 is in a similar boat. So what I suggest to nerf this, there's a couple things you can do. The first thing you can do is decrease the max damage range, because right now, it's pretty big. Right now, you don't have to be super accurate with the weapon to get the max damage. It's the same damage if I hit them like this, and if I hit them like this. So if I get a direct hit, or if I get like a beside them hit, it does the same amount of damage right now. And I think that you can change that. I think you can make it so that the max damage radius, I think it's right now 0.8 meters. You can nerf that to like 0.5 meters, so you have to be much more precise to get the max damage. I think that would make sense to do. Because the KS-23, which is projectile, you've got to be super accurate with that. The bow, which is projectile, you've got to be super accurate with that. The throwing knives, you've got to be super accurate with them. The CL-40, because it's a splash damage weapon, you don't really have to be that accurate with it. But I think you can change it so that it's more in line with all of the other weapons. So you don't have to nerf the damage, you don't have to, you know, nerf the max size, you don't have to do anything. You can just nerf the max damage range and see how it goes from there. I think that will pretty much eliminate the entire problem, because then it's also going to be a skill-based weapon. It's going to be more in line with the AKM, the Pike, the FCAR, the FAMAS, all of that kind of stuff. It's going to require a certain amount of skill, which right now, it just doesn't really, let's be honest. So that's something you could definitely do. Another thing you could do if you want to go a different way is to nerf the damage again, so it takes 4 shots to take out a heavy again, but you could buff the mag size. So you'd probably want to nerf the damage, buff the fire rate, and buff the mag size. So it's going to take 4 shots to kill a heavy, but then you also have, you know, an extra 2 bullets in there. Because the devs, when, you know, in the patch notes, the devs said they wanted to buff the CL-40 because they didn't like you had to put all 4 mags into a heavy to take them out, which makes sense. If I go put the AKM on here, let's go equip the AKM. If I put the AKM on, and I try and take out this heavy, I don't have to use all 36 bullets in the mag, even if I'm not headshotting them. I use 14, which gives me enough to also then take out a medium, right? So I don't have to unload my entire mag into a heavy to take them out, and that's going to be the same across all weapons in the game. But not how the CL-40 used to be. That's why it sucked. That's why no one used it before Season 4. Well, that's why no one used it in Season 3. Because you had to put all mags, all bullets, into a heavy to take them out. So, to eliminate that problem, but to also nerf the CL-40, you could make it so that you could nerf the damage so it takes 4 shots again, but then also increase the mag size. And because it's going to have a much slower time to kill then, you're also going to want to, you know, buff the fire rate to make it balanced again. So, less damage, higher fire rate, and more mag size. So you can put it back to taking 4 shots to kill a heavy, but it's also then going to have 6 bullets in the mag, so you're still not dumping the whole mag into a heavy to eliminate them. And I feel like that would be a pretty good balancing thing that you could do. I feel like both of those options are pretty solid. Either nerf the max damage radius from 0.8 meters to like 0.6 or 0.5 or even 0.4, something like that. Or nerf the damage, buff the mag size, buff the fire rate. I think those are pretty much the 2 options that you have that are going to make this weapon not awful to play against in bronze, silver, and gold, which right now they kind of are. You really don't need a whole lot of skill at all to use these things. Now, where I'm at, like, I've got pretty good aim. I've got decent aim, let's say, okay? So, I can play a game with the AKM and drop, like, 10 kills in 1 round. Like, if it's a good round, if it's a decent round, and I've got decent teammates, I can, you know, nicely, like, without trying too much, I can drop 10 kills with the AKM, and I can also do that with the CL-40. You know, it's not like I suddenly start getting 20 kills with the CL-40, I just get, you know, like, 10 again. It doesn't drastically improve my game because I've got decent aim with the AKM and I can take people out with that just fine, right? But at the lower level lobbies, if your aim is like this, you know, and you can't hit shots properly, you can't take out a medium with a full mag, then that's when you equip the CL-40 and you just delete them, right? So it's only a problem at the lower ranks, and I think both the ways I just suggested are going to be a pretty good way to kind of eliminate that. Either take away some of the max damage range, like nerf it, or nerf the damage, but buff the mag and buff the fire rate. I was surprised in today's patch notes that the CL-40 wasn't nerfed. That did come as a surprise to me because it really is everywhere. And this is just an absolute hard counter to lights. If you're a light and you got this thing against you, you're gonna die. You just lose. You're really not going to win a fight as a light against a CL40 unless, you know, stun someone and then go up right close to them and then, like, finish them off with an M11. Unless you go point blank as a light, you're not going to take out the CL40 person. You're just going to die. So it's especially rough as a light right now to play against this thing, but it's also rough for mediums, and it's kind of rough for heavies. It's pretty hard to take a heavy out in 3 hits because you have to be pretty precise, but it's possible and it does happen. So that's pretty much it. Those are the 2 ways that I can think of that would kind of fairly balance the CL40. Either nerf the max damage range to something a little bit lower than what it currently is, or nerf the damage itself and then buff the mag size so you don't have to hit all of your shots to kill a heavy. You only have to hit like some of your shots to kill a heavy, so buff it to 6, for example. Then also buff the fire rate because you don't want the time to kill to be insane. You want the time to kill to still be, you know, decent. So you also have to buff the fire rate. And I think those are going to be 2 decent ways to make the CL40 not feel awful to play against for lower level players. I feel like that's going to be probably the best that you can do about it. So if you're in, you know, silver and you don't have the best aim, you probably want to have the CL40 on. But if you're in gold and you've got decent aim, you can totally play that game with the AKM. If someone else is using the CL40, you just go point blank. They can't do anything. Or you just, you know, use a zipline or a jump pad and then just shoot them while you're on that, and they're also not going to be able to do anything. That's how you're going to counter the CL40, and I do this in my own games that I play, in my streams even. That's how I counter the CL40, and it goes pretty well for me. I'm yet to die to someone that's, you know, at point blank range without them also eliminating themselves. So there are counters to it. It's not, you know, insanely overpowered. It's not absolutely unbeatable. It's not S tier. It's just very good for players that, you know, can't aim that well. That's where the weapon falls into, and that's why, you know, the middle range players and the lower level players are like, oh my god, the CL40 is insane, it's absolutely broken. It's good for them, but at the higher levels, at Plat, at Diamond, at Ruby, the AKM just out-TTKs it if you get headshots. And even I think with just body shots, I think it's still just going to out-TTK it. But especially if you get headshots. The model is definitely going to out-TTK it, because it only takes 2 shots for a medium to take you out, instead of 3 with a CL40, right? So it's not as good as some people are making it out to be, but it's definitely very, 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 very annoying to play against if you're, let's say, a lower to medium level player. But there are counters to it, there are ways to play against it, but I still feel like it is going to need a nerf, because you can't just have, you know, one weapon that's super, super good against lower level players, because, you know, that wouldn't be very healthy for the game. So I'd imagine it's going to get nerfed, and those were just, you know, kind of a couple ways that I thought of that would be kind of effective in nerfing it, but still making it usable. Like, it wasn't usable at all in Season 3, so you really don't want to make it unusable again, you know, like 2 weeks after it's finally usable for the first time in like a month, or multiple months, actually. So you don't want to nerf it into the ground, but you do want to just make it more in line with other stuff. So I've tried recommending things that I don't think will kill it off. I think it will just require more skill to use, making it more in line with the AKM and all of the other medium weapons, and making it so at the lower levels, it's not going to be just like pick the CL40. It's going to be like, oh, I could use the CL40 if I want to focus on hitting this person with this projectile, or I can use the AKM if I want to focus on hitting them with a hit scan weapon. Right? So there you go. I think that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you in the next one. Farewell.